the way people have been socialized here is pretty different than it is down south. We talk to everyone there.
One of the things you're going to find about New Jersey, Newark, is going back in history, just to give you some history, is that Newark was the place to go to. Any day of the week, you have 1 million people on Broad Market, just in that area, just generally around the city.
And which market?
Broad Market downtown.
Broad Market.
So when the changes left after the rise, a lot of things went out. For example, when it comes to family, northern folk, I'm from the South, we have a southern value that never leave us, that those who were born in the North never had. It doesn't transition down from the family, even though the family have come from the South in many cases, okay? So as a result of that, there were places we could go. So if I went out with my kids to the store or to have dinner, I run across you, and your kids. Now I say, Charles, I've been meaning to come see you, man. I'm going to come Saturday. Now my kids kind of know your kids. They played before. So the kid going to be always grabbing my shoulder saying, Dad, when are we going to see Mr. Charles? When are we going to see Mr. Charles? So that remind me.
Right.
We don't connect anymore. There are people who I've grown up with and live in my neighborhood. I thought left the city years ago. I ran into and finally live around the corner from me. That's just the truth. Because I'm not going to do it politically. They're not home. So I didn't get to realize they live there. And then when they get up in the morning, they go to work this way, I go to work this way. There's no place for us to connect. We used to take our wives, I'm talking about mature adults now, even the young people. We had jazz clubs all over the place. We had supper clubs. We had this. So you had country and western music. We had bowling alleys all over the place. We had drive-in theaters. Broad Market, downtown Newark, probably had about 7 different theaters right down the strip. You had neighborhood theaters in the neighborhood. All that's gone. So when you start talking about community engagement, how you bring the infrastructure back,
right,
there's nothing for people to do but hang on the corners. Our playgrounds used to be full with kids playing basketball and trying to get to the pros. Then the playgrounds are parking lot for school teachers, and the kids' playground happened to be the street corner with the drugs. And when you start talking about putting those things back and making it right, government said no. And so it becomes a real big contradiction as to what our role in government is versus what we do.
Right.
And so I just giving you that for food for thought, because when you look at it, you see a lot of value and things you can do, but it may wind up being a little bit more complicated if you don't understand the intricacies of the history and what's going on here and the mindset of political officials and people like that. It's going to be a push through. And so you're going to need partners. And I'm going to partner with you to break through the ice and give you the history as I know, the real history. So I think that's important. Also, I know from being an elected official, and God has blessed me and the public has blessed me because they have actually given me the opportunity to do what most people cannot do, and that's to make policies and to write laws, which I take very seriously, because what I do impact your life and everybody else's, okay, and the work that you're doing. But I also know that the public put me back, and I've had my challenges from political operatives and party politics and stuff like that, primarily because I was able to build over the years a trust for coming from people believing in me. And so, I guess moving through what you want to do, you're going to have to build that trust as well. Do you have anything in mind, or you're going to have to do it as you go along? I mean, how do you expect, or you think you'll be moving the School of Public Affairs and Administration to get that trust built that you need?
Sure. That's a really good question for a variety of reasons. And you're right. Trust is very important in all relationships, marriage, business, etc. So the school lacks a couple of things that I think is going to build that foundation. One is we don't have an advisory board. So one of the things I'm doing is creating an advisory board, and one of them will represent the school, one will represent our Master's in Public Affairs and Administration program. So the school board will be persons who embrace the vision of the school. So some of these people, in collaboration with the chancellor and her staff, we vetted some people, some names, but we want people that are vested in the whole idea of public service and the goals that we have established for the school, specifically as it relates to community engagement. So once that team of people is put in place, so for example, if I say to you, I want you to join this board, what I'm going to get with you once you're there is, I'm going to get your team too. So people are going to say, well, I don't know Charles Menifield, but I know Senator Rice.
Right.
Or I don't know Charles Menifield, but I know Nancy Cantor. My good friend, George Hampton. People know George. I was talking to Brian Quinn over at Alba the other day. So there's some ways to integrate those things. You don't have to know me, but if you know the team that I built around me, if they trust me and you trust them, we trust each other. The other thing that we're going to do is, we have a large alumni base. SPAA has students all over the state of New Jersey, all over the country. We offer a PhD, a Master's of Public Affairs, and a bachelor's degree in public administration. Okay. So we have progeny everywhere. We're going to go around and we're going to talk to those communities and we're going to say, tell us what do we need to be doing a little bit differently at the school. We're also going to go to employers with the same question. Tell us how our students are doing as an employee of your company or your agency. What do you need to see differently? Once you start engaging people and instituting the sort of things that they say, that's when you're going to make a difference. That's when this level of trust comes up. And then lastly is, what you deliver, like what comes out of the office that's facilitating the goals of the city of Newark as well as our own. So combinations of those sorts of things, and it's going to take some time. I have a really good team, and I believe that in a year or so we're going to be firmly grounded and really, really doing some really good things. So it's very exciting.